Hello and welcome. This is Testify on Hope TV, where you look and live. My name is Sharon Aitore Wangenye. Such a great joy to have you join us today for another moment of faith stirring, another moment where our faith in Jesus Christ gets to grow. So today I am privileged and honored to have a man of God. He is a prophet, a pastor, a missionary. He is so many things in one, but a young man serving the Lord Jesus Christ. But he was not always so. He was a Muslim. His name is Jamal. Most people know him as Jamal, but then he got another name, Joseph. So we get to hear the story of Jamal or Joseph today. Karibu sana, Joseph.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great.
I'm excited.
I'm also excited that you're a young man who is zealously serving the Lord.
Yeah.
Young men these days, wanasema, just give us time to enjoy ourselves first and then we will serve the Lord later.
Yeah. Actually, I used to think that when I was...
you did? So it's
I was like, get the life, get the money, get the cars, and then get Jesus.
Yeah. As the last resort.
Yeah. Like after you do everything and then you circle back to Jesus.
Yeah.
So you sin now and then you repent later.
Oh.
But I came to realize that is a dangerous road to walk in. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So let's get to ground zero, Tuanze. Where did you grow up? How was it growing up?
I grew up in Mathare, and I remember I was born in Pumwani, and Pumwani maternity.
Oh, great.
And that was way back in the 90s. I'll not say when. But I'm a 90s kid.
Okay.
And when my mom, because her name is my mom is my mom has a Muslim name. Her name is Zarina, and she's Indian because she came with my grandmother from Uganda when Idi Amin was chasing the Indians in UG.
Oh.
That's like how she ended up in Kenya. And then she got to Kenya, fell in love with a Christian guy. But after getting pregnant, they never married because he was not in the picture. He left. And she got married again too. Now my father, who's now the man who raised me. And that's now how my story started.
Mm-hmm.
So
who was a Muslim?
Who was a Muslim now? Like, so now my mom being an Indian, but an Indian Muslim, because they were Indians, but they were Muslims.
Yeah.
And then she got married to now a Muslim man. Yeah. And we were pretty much raised in a Muslim home. Yeah, basic Muslim home.
How does a basic Muslim home look like?
Muslims are social people.
Yeah.
So you'd find that a basic Muslim home is you'd find it's just full all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because Muslims are social people and we like to have community around. That's why Muslims like to live many.
Yeah.
You'll find that 7, 8 people in one home. But for us, it was just I was the firstborn, and later on, the Lord blessed us with 3 other brothers who are my siblings.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just the 4 of us and our parents.
Okay.
And that is a basic Muslim home. It's big,
mm-hmm.
In short.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how was life in itself growing up?
Growing up, life was a bit challenging because from a very young age, like 4, 5, I could tell that this is not my dad. And
how so? Was it how he treated you? Did someone tell you?
Actually, it's how he treated me. Because there are some times I remember he would take my brothers out and leave me with mom.
Oh.
So and he'd go and buy toys and stuff, and then...
Oh, sorry.
And then he'd come back and I would like, why didn't he take me? Or why am I never part of the club? When they go out, they go together. I'm always like with mom, like I'm the handbag.
Yeah.
Not that I hate being the handbag because I love my mom, but it kind of stuck with me. Like, why am I always being left out? So there's a time mom came and told me that if you see this and this and this, no, it's because of this and this. And then
when you were that young?
Yeah, actually, my mom is one woman who she's very frank. She was frank with us from a young age because we were born in the ghetto.
Okay.
And there people are doing drugs, people are living. So she had to to be very frank with us from a very young age, telling us about crime, telling us about premarital sex and all those things. Because where we were born, most of even my classmates that I went to primary school with, most of them didn't even make to go to high school. Others died, others got shot, and all those things. So being born in the slum, and my mom and the grandmother moved from Uganda to Kenya, just the two of them.
Yeah.
So we were like the only family. She didn't have like any brothers or sisters in Kenya.
Wow.
It was just us. So she was telling me, you're the only family I have. And that's, she grounded us on like just basic honesty from the beginning.
Did it make sense to you then? What did it make you feel like?
I used to wonder why he left, because I was like, my mom didn't go into the details. Yeah, she didn't tell me like, but I used to wonder like what happened. And then I used to, because I went to a Christian school. Because I went to a school, it's in Isili First Street. It's called PCA. It's a Christian school. So Reverend CM Kareri PCA. That's when I studied. So I used to hear people talk about their fathers, how their fathers are doing good things for them, buying them toys. And I didn't have like the same experience. So it never resonated with me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I felt alone. I felt abandoned. Like this man didn't love me. And I had a low self-esteem from my young age because of such things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But how come you went to a Christian school first of all? Yet both your parents are Muslim?
Yeah, the choice was either going to a government school or a private school. And at that time, the government schools were not performing that well. So they made a joint decision to say, let's put them in a private school. And the best private school at that time was that Christian school. So even though you are Muslims, I pretty much grew up knowing the whole Christian culture, because in school we would sing at parades, we would sing fellowships with them, we would hear them pray, and sometimes catch a few words, and sometimes joke about the prayer and all those things.
Okay. Okay. How was that? Given that, or at least what we hear, we who are born Christian know that Muslims go through, what you call it, madrasa or what?
Yeah.
You know, those early teachings when you're a young person, and then getting to a Christian environment. Did you find it conflicting?
Actually, it was very conflicting, because I would wonder, I was doing CRE, and I was the best in my class. I used to like top my class.
Oh.
And not just me, but even because I was not the only Muslim in the class. We were like 5 or 6. And we used to like pass CRE more than the Christian kids. But I used to wonder like, I had gotten used to the idea of this Christian religion because it was a bit easier on paper, because we just used to do it. But when you come to Islam, I used to love like rapping. I used to
rapping in.
Actually, by the time I got to high school, I was in a rap group.
Oh, rapping in Arabic or what?
Just rapping in Swahili and English.
Okay.
And I used to love such things, but I would be told that these things are not allowed.
In the Islam faith.
Yeah, so I would look at Christians and like, these guys are free, they can rap, they can do all those things they want to, but for us we had certain restrictions. So even when it came to going to Madrasa, I was like, I was not really comfortable with it. And one thing we used to do, because I was the firstborn and by that time we were just two, me and my smaller brother, we would wake up in the morning, take a bath, put on our kanzus, and put on some extra clothes in the bag. So the parents would think we are going to Madrasa, but we'd go to like the soccer field.
Oh.
There was a soccer field near like the Madrasa. So we'd go and then we take off our kanzus, put them in the bag, put them down. We'd play soccer until 4 or 5. And then we'd hurry up and wash our legs and get all nice. And then put on our kanzu back and then go home.
Okay.
So our parents were thinking we used to go to Madrasa, and because my dad was not following up, my mom was also busy at that time. She had a hotel, so it kept her pretty much busy.
Right.
So she was like, I hope you're going to. We're like, yes, mom, we are going. Recite for me one surah that you read. And The first one, maybe the one that I did 3 months ago, is I would recite it. But it was not until some time they came to find out that we were not.
And what happened?
Ushaisikia kichapo cha umbwa msikitini. Yeah, so we got a good beating. And after that, we sat with my mom and I told her, if my dad was not a Muslim, I'm not comfortable.
Being a Muslim?
Yeah, because I asked him, was my dad a Muslim? Because I knew that now my stepdad was not my real dad. So I was like, was my dad a Muslim? And she said, no, he wasn't a Muslim. And I'm not comfortable being I'm not comfortable being a Muslim. Obviously, it didn't hold so much ground at the time, but it kind of gave me a leeway not to go to Madrasa. So my mom said, it's okay, I will talk to your father. And I stopped going, and because my small brother was following me, he also stopped going. So we did Juzu kama mbili, they are the books that you recite into Juzu. We did mbili ama tatu, and then from there we stopped going. So I was not too much grounded in Islam because of that. Okay. Yeah.
But you got a thing or two, of course, from there.
Yeah, I did. And actually, even if we're not going to Madrasa, we would practice the normal Muslim life, prayers, fasting, and all those things. When Ramadan came, so apart from just not going to Madrasa and all those things, but everything else was the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this is when you were really young. We're talking about how old, maybe?
That time I was 7, 8.
7, 8.
Yes, we are still young.
Okay, so through a Christian school. After that, secondary, did you still go to a Christian school?
Yeah, secondary I went to Jamhuri High School, which was a day school. And that's when I really got serious with Islam, because I met a lot of Muslim friends, and we would feel like a bond because we had the Muslim circle there. So I was now really serious, and my parents were like, finally you've embraced who you are.
Okay.
And
what did that look like? Being a serious Muslim now, what did that look like?
I was praying 5 times a day. It was okay. I had the support system of my friends, but I was also in Jamhuri High School, and we were Jamhuri was known for being a rowdy school. So I was Form 1, Form 2, I was really serious. Form 3, not so much serious because I also wanted to go for school functions, funkies and all those things. Yeah. But the Muslim circle were telling us, because we are Muslims, we don't engage in those things. Mm-hmm. And I would say, I told you I like to rap and all those things. So I was we used to be in a rap group, but I couldn't openly announce in school that I'm in a rap group, because the Muslim circle used to be very protective, because Jamhuri had 1,000 to 1,200 students, day scholars at that time, and the Muslims were almost 200 or so. So it was always we are the minority, and we have to look out for each other. So everyone was really, and there was just that love, just communal love. And sometimes it was limiting me from doing certain activities that I loved. But by the time I was in Form 3, I was almost a candidate. I just openly stopped being that serious. But when I was with them, but when I was away from them, I would do my own things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apart from rapping, what else was making you run away from these people?
For me, I love music. Mm-hmm. Music used to be, and then I used to love reading poetry. So I was just drawn to the arts. Yeah. And the restrictions on women, that really from a young age, I would see how the women were treated differently than the men, and how they didn't have a voice, because I would also see it at home. My mom would say something and it would just okay. And
it's just by the way.
Yeah, and dad wouldn't take her seriously. And I used to wonder, if one day I get married, do I want to live like this? So that thing always, because you used to see it at home a lot. Mom would raise something maybe important, and then dad would just brush it off. Yeah, and it kind of got to me, because I was why are we not because I saw how the Christians treated sisters, brothers. I also saw families coming and how they were relating. And I was like, our family is different from these other families. And I wish we would be more like these other families. So that was one thing that also drew me away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Form 3. You're starting to withdraw.
Yeah, I was now starting to withdraw, but it was just subtly, very slowly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take me through the rest of the story.
So after that, I graduated. But by the time I was in high school, I also got involved in a lot of drugs, actually.
Oh, so this time that you were
withdrawing, the time I was withdrawing,
yeah,
we also had some friends who introduced me like to weed, and we started taking weed, and then we started skiving classes, and then we'd skive classes to come to town, and we used to call it kuhanda or hizi shule zingine. So we used to come and like collect tax in town. So when other schools closed, we used to be there, and every school that entered town, they had to like pay us tax because
what?
We,
what do you mean? Pay you how? Like give you money?
Because their Jamhuri was known like, we used to be like the king of the streets, and especially Nairobi.
So what exactly would you do? Like stop a school bus and ask for money or what?
No, we stop. We would go to like Mudhurwa country bus, and where tea room where students gather. So after they like come into Nairobi, those bus stops, and then we'd meet maybe, let's say, Tala boys or Chuka boys or Chuka girls, and mostly the boys would go and tell them. They used to know us, so we'd go and tell them we've come for our tax, and then they would give us 20 shillings, 50 shillings, and then we'd leave them alone.
20 shillings each? Yeah,
sometimes we'd collect 20 shillings, 30 shillings each, and by the end of the day, you have 700. You have 800.
What?
So it kind of got like addicting, because that was now taking me into the side of crime. Because if someone refused to give you the 20 shillings, we used to tell them, I'm going to give you 20 shillings and I will take whatever money I find in your pockets.
Wow.
And I will give you 20. Shit. So if I find that you had 1,500 maybe for fare and the rest, I would take the 1,500 and give you
20.
Because you told me you had no money. So that was like the company that I was involved with. And I think withdrawing from Islam also got me into the deep end, because I was now smoking. Sometimes you were drinking, and now we are getting to like a bit of stealing and stuff. So it was a very dark path for me, because it also introduced me to crime. Something that my mother strongly told me, because I was born in the slums and raised in the slums, and I saw a lot of my friends. Like when I was in class 8, I remember there's this friend that I had. His brothers went to steal at a bank in Isili, and they were shot dead. And they were almost like our friends. We used to hang out with them, and we were just kids. And even after finishing, by the time I'm going to school, there are others who got killed. So I saw a lot of my friends die from stealing, and I had vowed I'd never do that. But funny how life goes.
So, where would you steal from?
It used to be just, when you go out with a gang and you just want to be a part of them. So sometimes you don't even want to steal from anyone, but it's just the pressure. Like, you see someone with a phone, you like, take that phone. And someone says, dares you to snatch the phone. And then you're like 5 or 6 of you.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're just like, just hit it. And then we got you covered. And then at that time you were students. So we knew that you wouldn't shoot a student. Even if the police were involved, they wouldn't like shoot you or anything, because you're still underage, you see. So that one gave us some bit of ego to say like, we can do anything and get away with life. So by the time I was finishing high school, I didn't perform well. And I used to be like a sharp student from the time I was in primary school. I used to be number 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But by the time I'm getting to Form 2, Form 3, like my grades they took a nosedive. And from them, I didn't pass. Actually, I got a D+. It was like, wow. What will I do with this? And it was...
Did it shock you? How did that feel?
Yeah, that was the time like reality hit. Because when you're with a group and you're doing all these things, it was all cool. Yeah. But when like we waited for the results, and then I was like, my God, I literally failed. And then my mom was like, "Now you can't. You have to be a man and find something to."
What had you wanted to become?
I wanted to be a rapper.
Oh,
So I was like,
hey, you're rappers.
it's still good because we had a rap group back then with some of my friends from Kibera, and we used to like do battle freestyles, all those things. And we had some songs we had written, and we were saying, when we finish, we're going to record these songs. We're going to be superstars. And I was telling Mom, you don't need to worry. I got this covered. I don't need to. I don't need
to make
books.
lots of money.
I'm going to make lots of money. I'm going to be driving a Lambo. And after I finished, I now came to find out the real sad truth of life, the reality now. And I had to go like live with my aunt in Mombasa for some time. And that's where like I reformed a bit. I stopped like the stealing and stuff because when I was...
Before that, had your mom known, had your parents known what kind of behaviors you were into?
No.
They had not known.
Actually, I hope they don't watch this. Because to Mama, he's like, good boy.
Good boy.
She never knew. I know it would break her heart to find out what I did, but it's only right to like just get it off me.
Yeah.
But she used to know that I used to smoke because there's a time she caught me high. And she was like, after all I've raised you through and everything I've sacrificed for you to be here, this is how you're... And it really hurt me. Actually, that's the time I was like, I'm going to quit this smoking and stuff, because I saw how heartbroken she was when she learned that I was smoking. But she never knew that we used to steal from people, and even I was being given fare daily to like go to school, but we used to like tunaenda kwa stage and then we wait for the pickups and the lorries. So by the time tunasimama kwa bump, when it reaches the bump,
you jump in.
We jump in. Ikifika Ngara near Fig Tree, there are a lot of bumps. So we just wait, then we jump out and we eat the fare. So it started very innocently, and then it ended to be just out of control.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Mombasa, what caused the reform, or what made you start changing?
When I went to Mombasa, I was now seeing how, like, because I was born in the slums, it's not like we didn't have money. We came from poverty. I knew how poverty was. And I was now looking at my brother and my mom. She was like, you are our hope. Like, you have to make it. Wow. And I failed her. So I was like, I'm not going to fail you. I'm not going to fail you again.
Yeah.
I may have failed you the first time, but I'm not going. So that thing is the one that like made me to like want to live a clean life, live a better life. Yeah. So I was in Mombasa for a few years. And then I returned from Mombasa. There I was just working I was living with one of my aunts who had a wines and spirit. And she also had a bar and a wines and spirit bar and a hotel. So I would be in the wines and spirit from 6 to 6. And then I would close at 6 and then enter the hotel, work at the hotel from 7 to 10. They would close. I would now go into the bar, work at the bar from 10 to around
you ever sleeping?
12. And then I'd go to sleep around 1 there. And I used to wake up early because the hotel, wale wasichana walikuwa na wakuko, hawakuwa wanajua kukanda unga ya mandazi na chapati vizuri. Ama when walikuwa na kanda zilikuwa mandazi haziishi. But one day nikaambia, wacha niwasaidie ni, because my mom had a hotel, so I used to know how to, yani cooking was just natural for me. So one day nikawakandia, and by 9, 10, kila kitu ilikuwa imeisha. So from that time, they were like, when utakuwa unakanda unga? So I used to wake up at 5, niwakandie unga, they start preparing, and then I go and rest, and then come back by 6 to the wines and spirit. But it also gave me some time to like save up some monies.
Okay.
By the time I was coming back to Nairobi, I had like a PS shop. I went and opened my PS business, and I had an M-Pesa and movies all in one.
Okay.
It was
you were doing good.
It was like a package. So I was like, I'm almost finally getting there.
All right, just hold it right there. Let's take a very quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm and all is bright round young virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace. My name is Daisy Love, and I'm a sound technician at Hope Recording Studios and an environmental journalist at Hope TV. And we would like to wish you from Hope TV and Hope Recording Studios Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
This is Testify. If you just joined us, karibu sana, and welcome back to you who was with us. My guest today is Jamal, and we're on with the story. So I just wondered, as you were working in a wines and spirit and a bar, and you were slowly letting off these habits.
No, actually, the only thing that I had stopped was now like the crime part. But now the drinking. I used to be the DJ actually. When I would get, because I had a laptop at that time.
Okay.
So on Saturdays and Sundays, I would connect it to the main system, and I used to like sit there with my laptop, virtual DJing, and people I would make mixes and sell them there, because we were in Voi, and it was not just in Voi town. It was like 30 kilometers from Voi town, so it was a remote like village, and because I'm the one who came from Nairobi, everyone was like, this guy will hook you up with anything you want.
Yeah.
So I got quick friends, and I started getting quick money, but also I did not change the fact that I was still doing drugs.
Okay.
And then I had the opportunity to like now go deep, because the alcohol was there and I had my own money. And
so you did it big.
Yeah, so that we hit the bottle pretty hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then you say you came back to Nairobi, and at least you had some money for yourself. You opened up a business. How did that go?
It was well. By that time, I was in a relationship that was hopefully going to
lead to marriage.
Because I met the girl in Voi, and by the time I was coming to Nairobi, she was also finishing going to campus. She had finished high school, she was going to campus, and she came to Kitui, and I was in Nairobi. So it was not that long distance, but it was long distance. But at least now I was like, I finally found the one I want to settle down. And even my parents knew her parents knew me. So I was like, now I want to like settle down. And she also inspired me to like now start reforming, because I was like, I want to be a better man because of her. But so I had that joint that I had for the PS and the M-Pesa, and it was doing pretty good. Yeah.
All right. And this time you're still a Muslim?
That time I was still a Muslim, but by name, because I was not really practicing
Islam.
I'm not praying 5 times a day and all those things. Because when I was in Voi, it was like more freestyle. No one was watching what I was doing.
Yeah.
By the time I was coming to Nairobi, I was not even going to the mosque that often. But whenever we had like Eid or all these celebrations, I used to be there, and just for people to see you. But in your heart, like this thing, I'm disconnected from it. So around that time is the time now I got born again.
Okay, what happened?
So it was on a Friday night. It was in 2015, mwezi wa kumi, and I was coming from town. I was taking my girlfriend. She was traveling to Coast. She had come to to visit me in Nairobi, and she was now going back to Coast. So she had a 9 p.m. bus. So I took her. She went and got on her bus. And as I was coming home, because at that time we were living in a place called Gathega. It's just past Kitusuru. Past Kitusuru, there's a place called Gathega. That's where we are living. So, but my business was in Mwamuto, the other side. So at that time, I had taken her to the stage, bid her farewell, and then came back I was now going back to go and collect my friends. We go for a rave because it was on a Friday. So we were like, we want to like go and turn up. And I went, by 9:30, I was on a Matatu. It was a 14-seater. And I was just expecting to get home fast, call my friends, we meet up, we go party. But I remember after we reached Westgate, and then past Westgate, there is that Peponi Road. Peponi Road is the one that takes you to now Kitusuru. So when we were in Peponi Road, the Matatu that I was in, it just rammed into the next car. It lost the brakes. So we didn't realize until it had just rammed into the car that was in front of us. And when that happened, the driver was now told us that, hey, hatuna brakes. No, anatuambia hatuna brakes. So kila mtu ajue kwamba brakes imekataa. And when he said that, everyone panicked because tulikuwa tushapanda mlima tunateremka. And then that's when the brakes failed. And outside I could see there's a river that passes by Peponi Road. And it's a very steepy place. And I could see that river and I was like, I hope this Matatu doesn't because I was sitting on the right side of the vehicle, kwa dirisha. So I was seeing everything that was happening outside. Though it was at night, but I was seeing what was happening. So when he said we don't have brakes, everyone panicked. But at least he was just trying to steer the vehicle. So the passenger, the motorist that was behind us saw that our car had lost control. So he thought, let me overtake these people so that I don't hit them or they don't hit me by mistake. So by the time when he wanted to overtake us, our driver swerved. And the car that was trying to overtake us now hit us from behind. And now we left the road and entered into like that forest where I was telling you the river. And now the Matatu was now going to fall into the river because now the intensity that he hit us from behind, we just veered off the road completely. And when that happened, I knew this is it. I knew we are not going to make out of this alive. And in that moment, I was thinking a lot of things, but mostly about death. Like if I die today, will I go to heaven? And everything.
You had heard about heaven.
Yeah, yes, obviously I did see. I knew about heaven. And even in Islam, we're told about Jannah, about heaven. So I knew about heaven.
Okay.
But I was asking myself, if I die today, will I make that heaven? Will I go to paradise? Because in Muslim we say paradise. But will I go there? And everything in my system was saying, no, you'll not make it there. And I said, let me take a chance on this Jesus. I've served Allah pretty much my whole life, and I've not seen anything, like never had because in Islam there's no blood of Jesus. You only have the water that sanctifies you. So before you go to prayer, lazima utawadhe, because the water that sanctifies you is the thing that makes your prayers to be heard. Because God cannot hear your prayers if you've not sanctified yourself before you go and pray.
Which is normal water.
Which is just normal water.
Okay.
You see, so I knew that there's something deeper to life than just this. And I said, let me try and this Jesus. But I was not even serious calling on the name of Jesus. It was just like, I'm going to die, let me try.
Yeah.
So I just said, I said it in my heart. Jesus, if you really do exist, save me from this accident, and I will serve you the rest of my life. And it was a prayer of desperation.
Mm-hmm.
And after I said that, the Matatu that was supposed to fall in the ditch hit a tree and stood still.
Wow.
And when that happened, I started wondering, Is it a prayer?
Yeah.
Is it coincidence? Was this Matatu meant to stop? You see? So I was like, did he answer? Because in Islam, you don't get answers just like that. You don't just say, God help me, and then
And he does.
instantly, like, boom, you see. So I started doubting. It's like maybe that tree was just planted there.
Yeah, for that purpose.
For that purpose. I started doubting. But I remember when immediately I got off the Matatu, people were asking for change and all these things. For me, it was just, I just want to get home. So, but I was wondering, is it really, did he answer? Did he not answer? And I just said, man, just go home. It's been a long night already, just go. So I remember I didn't sikwenda kufuata hata makanga ati anipatie change. I just came back to the road to try and see if I can get another matatu. So by the time I was there on the road trying to get another matatu, I was with three women who were also in the same matatu, who were also waiting to get another ride to just go home. And we were saying, maisha ni muhimu kuliko pesa. So even they didn't like take their change or anything. You're just like, we want to get home. So I was there talking with them, and there's a motorist who came and just pulled up. He said, what happened? And we told him about the accident. He said, I'm going on the same way. Ingieni niwapatie lift. So I was fortunate to enter with the three women. They were mothers because they were in their 70s, 60s. They were old. So I entered like the back left, and I had two on my side and one on the front. And I was like, finally, I'm out of this situation. So as we started going, the driver started inquiring of what happened and what led up to the accident, and the women told him. And then I didn't know he was an evangelist.
Oh.
So all of a sudden I was shocked. Unajua ile sauti ya Pius Muiru, the way he had us like. So he started like preaching, and he started like preaching hard.
Wow.
Like Mungu amewaokoa kwa hiyo ajali because he has a reason, anataka kuwatumia tubuni dhambi zenyu. So he was like, and everything he was saying was like stinging me. Yeah, like the way Acts says that when Peter spoke, his words pierced the hearts of the people. Right. That's what was happening, because every word he was saying was like piercing me. And I tried to look outside and pretend like I'm not listening to this. But deep down I was like, this is Marvin, this is you. This has to be it. God is talking to you. But the whole time I was quiet. So at least the women were replying. And I was saying, I'm lucky. At least niko huku nyuma. Siko kule mbele na I don't have to like strike a conversation.
Right.
But the women like snitched on me.
They're like, oh, kijana, something.
Wako like, sisi tumeokoka. Sisi tunamjua Mungu. Sisi tumtumikia Mungu tukiwa wasichana mpaka sasa hivi. Lakini yule kijana ako huku nyuma, hii ujumbe ni kama ni like hii ujumbe si yetu, ni huyu kijana. So it now got real.
Yeah.
Because even for them, they were like, no, this is not our message. For us, at least, and we don't have the strength to serve God at 70. But he's young, preach to him.
Yeah.
So they were telling him like, wow, preach to this guy. This guy needs Jesus. And they were like, oh, hi, Nini, what's your name? I was like, Jamal. I was like, Jamal, yes. You ni jina ya Kiislamu? Yeah. Like, yeah, ni jina ya Kiislamu. So now the focus now changed to
you.
And then like everyone was like, I need to know Jesus, Nini. And then he started saying, Jamal, God has a reason for saving you from that accident. God is going to use you. And I was like, it wasn't making sense to me because I had seen the life I had lived up to then. And when he's saying God is going to use me, I'm like, to do what?
Yeah.
But I just kept calm, and I was like, like it was the longest ride of my life.
Long.
Yeah. And I was like, I just want to get home. And I was just praying, God, please save me from this man. From this.
God are you praying to?
I was just saying, please, I want to. But because I was afraid to like being left alone with him or anything. And that's what happened.
You're afraid to...
Because I'm like, if the way he was talking and the way I was feeling, I was like, I can't, at least when there are people, you can fake it. But when I was like, no, I can't.
Yeah, the fire is too much.
The fire is too much. So I was like, I can't go on. I just want to get home. am I dreaming? First I called on the name of Jesus, the matatu stopped. Now this man is telling me that God wants to use you. And it was too much. But as we were going, the women started walifika kwa stage yao and they started like kushuka. Now I was left alone with the driver because everyone else alishuka.
Yeah.
And it was now me and him. And then he asked me.
With a loud voice.
Yeah, and then he asked me, unashukia wapi? And then I told him where I was going. And then he told me, hata mi sifiki huko. Like, hapo Kirawa, there's a school called Kirawa. It's like, sitafika hata international school. I want to branch off at Kirawa and go your side, that other side. So I was like, please just leave me here. I'll just walk. It's not a long distance. It's like, no, it's a long distance. Let me just take you. I can always come back. So I was like, okay. So he took me. Akanifikisha mpaka home. And the last thing he told me, remember everything I've told you? God has saved you for a reason and God is going to use you. And I said, okay, thank you. He turned his car. He went. And I had plans to like call my friends. We go and party.
You were going for a party.
So I switched off my phone. I was like, this is too much emotional roller coaster for one day.
Yeah.
I switched off my phone. And I was going to take some things from my parents. So I went to them. It was around 10. I was like, hey, you came so late. I was like, I was just passing by to pick a few things and then leave. So I ended up spending the night there. On the next day, I started asking myself, was it a dream or did this thing happen? And then I started feeling a conviction in my heart that you need to get saved. This thing really did happen and God did really save you from that accident. So I made up my mind on Sunday, because now that was Saturday. Tomorrow, I am going to look for a church and go and get saved. And that's what I decided to do. And the next morning, I got up pretty early. By 10, I was prepared. I was done. I said, the first person I'm going to meet, because I didn't even know where the nearest church was, but I just said, the first person I'm going to meet, I'll just stop them and ask them if they know a church. And that's what I did. I met one gentleman and asked him, hi, do you know a church here? And he told me, yeah, there's a perfect church just where you are. Just go straight and you'll see it on your right. And I went. By the time I was reaching there, they were doing praises and then worship. And I just got in, and because I had Christian friends, and when I was in school, I was already accustomed to the Christian culture. Mm-hmm. So I found them dancing. I also danced with them. I just got into the mix. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe they didn't notice that I was not. They didn't notice that they had. I was part of them. So I was waiting because I knew all about altar calls. I was waiting for the time they
would call you.
They would call for the altar call. I would go and tell them, now I'm here to get saved. So I waited. The preacher preached. Although wageni, I was like, nilikuwa najificha because sikuwa nataka kutokea kwa wageni. But when the preacher finished preaching, I was like, now this is the moment. When he calls the altar call, I'm going to go and say I want to get saved. But he just finished the message and said, that's it, guys. I'll see you next week.
Sunday.
I was like, no, I can't go back home like this. So I waited until he finished, people are greeting each other and all those things. So I waited until I saw he was finished greeting people. I went to him and told him, Pastor, his name was Pastor Chege. I'm here to get saved. And I'm not going to leave this church unless I get saved. Yes, and he's like, are you for real? I'm like, yeah, I'm for real. I'm not living here until I get saved. So he was like, what is your name? I was like, Jamal. Jamal. I was like, yeah, my name is Jamal and I want to get saved. So he asked me, you're a Muslim? I said, yes, I come from, I'm a Muslim, but I want to get saved. He was like, are you for real? Ama you're just playing around? I'm like, I'm for real. I want to get saved. So he said, if you're serious, kneel down. I knelt down. And then he took me through the sinner's prayer. And that is how I received Jesus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you've been saying there's something that, there was a conviction, there was a push. Something just led you to that. So a point that you're telling Pastor, no, you're not going before I get saved.
Yeah.
So what happened after you got saved? What did you feel like?
Okay, at first I felt like a peace. There's just a peace that enveloped me. And like the Bible says, the peace that transcends all human understanding. Like I
Right.
just felt the peace. And I was now struggling now because I was in a relationship. I was like, now how I'm going, my parents going to receive this news? And my girlfriend was a Christian, but she was not like living a
Okay.
Christian life because we used to party together.
Yeah.
We used to make fun of those Christians who are really like serious.
He used to make fun of serious Christians.
Yes, she's like, actually, she used to make fun of them, and I used to changia.
Okay.
But I was like, now, what will happen? Because I know how she hates such things,
Yeah.
and I've now become the person that. And I was just torn apart. I didn't tell my parents immediately, but after some time, I told them, and I told them after I broke after that. I told my girlfriend. She was, it's cool now. At least you're a Christian. That's good. And then the next Saturday is like, can we go out partying? And like, no, see, I got saved. Remember, I told you I got saved. It's like, funny, what's the big deal? I told him, no, I can't. We can't be going out to party and all these things. I want to like live to follow God. And we started having like some issues because she was saying, it's good. I always wanted you to get saved, but not like this. Like you've become too religious. Like umekuwa too.
Okay, let's just say she had the wrong picture of what she wanted.
And then so I was like, I was like, we need to put some boundaries on some things. I was like, we need to like get married if you're really going to continue with this relationship. Because the pastor now called me and was like, oh, you're living with them. I'm living with this girl. We are not married. It's like, okay, come, I pray for you guys. And we do like a small celebration. At least we officialize the thing. And for her, she was like, no, me, I just want to have fun.
Oh. Okay.
I was like, see, we were talking about getting married. So like, no, that's for you. I just want to have fun. Maybe we get married 5 years of 6. I was like, no, me, I don't have 5 years.
Yeah.
And we ended up like breaking up. And when we broke up, I was very depressed for like 6 months. Sikuwa natoka kwa nyumba.
Oh.
I was not even tending to the business. Actually, I closed the business and it was doing very good. Because
of a broken relationship.
I think that heartbreak and it just got me really deep.
Yeah.
And I closed the business. I took most of the things back to my parents. By that time, they didn't know that I was saved. So I took them. The others I sold.
You didn't tell them why you closed the business?
They knew that I was going through a bad breakup.
Yeah.
But that's
all.
That's all they knew.
Okay.
So by the time I started living with them, because I couldn't do anything, even work. So I moved in back with my...
So the 6 months that you stayed at home and...
I was just staying.
Doing what?
Nothing. I was just locking myself.
And feeling sad.
And listening to sad music.
Yeah.
I used to have like a playlist of sad songs that I would like listen to. And sometimes if it's really bad, there's a friend of mine who used to like bring me some weed. Like, she can at least for consolation or something.
Oh,
so I was like now slipping back into the life that I had once put behind me.
Yeah, because I was just about to tell you got saved.
Yeah, I was like...
So now the weed again.
I started using it again. And it was really tough because for those 6 months, I was not doing anything. My parents did not understand what's going on with this person. On Sunday, I used to go to church still. But I was also now starting to feel the guilt of like living a
double life.
I know my parents were like, where do you go on Sundays?
Yeah.
You don't leave the house, but on Sunday, all of a sudden you want to. So I had to tell them like I got saved.
Okay. Wow. I think the story is not over yet. There's a bit more to come. But because time is gone, we'll end this episode right here. And then my dear viewer will join us next week, same place and same time, as we continue with the story of Jamal. So what happened after he let the cat out of the bag, told his Muslim parents that he had gotten saved, and then a lot more, like We said he's a pastor, he's a prophet, he's a missionary, so many things. How did he get there even? That and more in our next episode of Testify. I pray that your faith in Jesus Christ will keep growing. Till next time, may the Lord keep you. Get in touch with us through the number that appears on your screen or through our social media platforms. My name is Sharon Aitore Wangenye. Bye-bye.